Hey folks, I recently completed building this mobile miter saw station for my small workshop. It's got storage drawers, it's got casters that retract, and it's been an awesome addition to my space. And I'm going to show you how I put it together right now. My 10 foot by 20 foot tiny workshop is just that. It's pretty small for the type of work I like to do in here. Things get a little cramped, and I'm always looking for better ways to organize this space. My miter saw currently sits on kind of a homemade contraption I made out of an old shop cart. And while it's mobile, it's certainly not stable, and I don't have any side support for longer pieces when I'm cutting. As part of this project, I'm also going to be looking at the workflow of my workshop and addressing stuff like the distance between the miter saw and the table saw. I'll be putting everything on casters so that everything can be easily moved around and rearranged. So I started searching for a good design for my miter saw station, and I came across this guy. This is Brad with Fix This, Build That. He's got an awesome YouTube channel, and he sells plans for some of his projects, including his mobile miter saw station. Brad's plans were a perfect starting point for my project. While I didn't need the space used here for the shop vac, I did need that space for more shop storage and designed some drawers to go here. I also wanted the unit to sit flat on the ground as opposed to on casters, just so it's the most stable when it's in use. I have detachable casters that are interchangeable with other stations, so I'll be using those instead. I put all of my updates to the cut list in Adobe Illustrator and started working on getting the panels cut down to size so I could start building it. Breaking down 4x8 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood inside my 10x20 workshop is no small feat. I had built a nice deck off the front of the workshop for just this kind of purpose, but today it's raining, so we get to move it inside today. Using my updated cut sheet, I'll be making my initial cuts with my track saw just to get it down to a manageable size, and then I'll move everything over to my table saw to get it exact. Much of this build relies on pocket joinery or drilling and countersinking for screws for putting everything together. I'm starting with the two wings that go on either side of the station that fold up and support longer pieces. It's right about this point that I'm discovering my first major mistake on this build, and it's a pretty good one. I measured the width of this saw multiple times, came up with 25 and 5/8, and I wrote that down. However, when I created my cut list, I transposed 25 and 3/8. That's a big difference. And since I had already made all the other cuts and wood is expensive, I did what any self-respecting woodworker would do. I just cut the handles off. And there we go. It's like it never even happened. The frame is squared away. Now it's time to add the casters. I'm using these Fulton quick release plates that accept lifting casters. And I'll be using these plates on several of my stations around the workshop. We'll get to the casters later, but this is kind of a cool system to be able to use one set of casters across multiple workstations. This lifting caster system is pretty awesome. Everything's really easy to use. When you put the workstation down, it's nice and solid on the floor. And best of all, you only have to buy one set of casters and then however many plates you need for the workstations you want to have mobile. Works out pretty well. I'll provide a link to the product down in the description. Now it's time to start assembling the drawers. There's 3 drawers on the workstation, all about the same size, so you'll see similar cuts and similar ways of going together with pocket hole screws. I do plan on putting dividers in these drawers, so I'll be cutting slots for those on the table saw. And the last thing I need to do is build the adjustable backstops for the wings to ensure that longer pieces of wood are squared up with the saw. We're not quite done yet. We need to rearrange this shop to make sure everything fits. And so there we go. My mobile miter saw workstation with storage drawers for my tiny workshop. Love the extra storage space. I love the functionality of this, the fact that it's mobile, the fact that I can reuse the casters for other things within the shop. Works out perfectly, and I appreciate you following along on this build. If you like what you saw today, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, please subscribe to the channel. If you do subscribe, hit that notification button so you know when I post new videos. I appreciate each and every one of you following along. Y'all get out there and make it good. Thanks a lot.